So it's always hard saying goodbye. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob, and this is Stormcrow Overland, where we talk about going on adventures, road tripping, camping, just generally getting out and enjoying life. And on this episode, one, I need to fill y'all in on what's been going on in my life. It's been a little crazy. I hadn't done a video in quite a while. And two, this is going to be me saying goodbye to my 4Runner. Uh, 4Runner was a big part of the channel. We'll kind of get into some history on that. Basically, I'll tell y'all the full story of how I got the 4Runner, why I decided to move on, and maybe share some of the fun stories I had with it. Um, for those of you that don't know the actual story of how I got the 4Runner, and I'm sure some of y'all know pieces and parts, I don't know if anybody knows the full story. Uh, I've been into the idea of overlanding for a long time. It was something I thought was so cool. I used to watch like the Camel Trophy trucks, the Camel Trophy, yeah, where they would take the Land Rover Defenders out and drive through rivers and all this crazy stuff. Always loved watching the Paris Dakar stuff. I always wanted to do that. I grew up going camping. Never was a huge off-road person growing up, but grew up in the woods, grew up used to dirt roads, stuff like that. And it's, the older I've gotten, the more I've ended up living in the city, and the more I miss getting away from it and getting back out into nature, away from people, just kind of getting out, exploring, checking out, oh, what's down that road, or if there's a cool campsite over there. So this was something I was always interested in, and before I even really started overlanding, I had like an adventure motorcycle, and I'd go out and camp on it, and, go run around, just explore. No like big trips, but just what can I find? Well, oh look, where's that random little dirt road go? That kind of thing. Also had before all this, I had a two-wheel drive F-150, nothing special truck. I say that it was a great truck. It served me well for many years, but it was just a generic two-wheel drive F-150. And I took it on a couple of small camping trips, going down dirt roads, and it kept just reinforcing in my head that this is something I really want to do. But at that time of my life, money was a little tight. I was in the military. I was getting out of the military. I was transitioning, trying to find a civilian job. Uh, this was, a young kid, wife, spending money to get an overland rig and build it up was not high on my priority list. So I just took what I had and went out and did what I could. Fast forward to some point, and my dad texted me. And we used to, he's gone now. We'll get to that. We used to text back and forth all the time with project ideas, or oh, I'm looking at this for something, or I may buy this. And he sent me a picture. He was like, "Hey, I just picked up this uh, two-wheel drive V8 2006 4Runner. It had been a salvage title. It got hit in the back. Um, the shop that it got taken to fixed it up. Did the salvage title, all that. Got it as close to new as possible. And then my dad got it for a really good deal. His whole plan, he was he was a big dirt bike guy. He wanted to be able to go camp somewhere with a trailer, take dirt bike out, and go ride around with his buddies. So he was trying to build a tow rig, something that he could use to drive around and carry a trailer down a muddy dirt road and not have to worry about getting stuck. But and occasionally take off road if he wanted. Now, I mentioned it was two-wheel drive. One of the first things he did was went to a junkyard, found an FJ Cruiser transfer case, FJ Cruiser front axle, and a few other little bits and pieces here and there, and put it all together like Legos and made a four-wheel drive V8, or a selectable four-wheel drive V8 4Runner. Which, if you know about 4Runner, especially fourth gens, that wasn't something that exactly got offered from Toyota. They had basically a full-time four-wheel drive system in the V8s. The V6s had an actual selectable transfer case, and his idea was he wanted to be able to put it in two-wheel drive high to just cruise down the highway. But if he got stuck camping out in the woods somewhere and it rained all night and the roads got muddy, he wanted the opportunity to be able to put it in four low So he made what he wanted. It wasn't something that was actually offered, but it was great. He also added an Eaton shoe track to the rear end, so it wasn't a full time like actual like full on locker, but it's kind of an auto locker, and it worked great. Put it to the test many times. He was just about done building this 4Runner. He had done the transfer case swap. He'd gotten that all worked out. Um, he had put an upgraded radio in it so he could have Bluetooth and things like that because it didn't come with it then. Passed away. Widowmaker heart attack out of nowhere. It sounds cliche, but he was literally out doing what he loved. He had spent all morning riding dirt bikes with his buddies out in Arizona. Stopped, had a great lunch with his buddies, and went out riding. And his light switch got turned off. He was done. He moved on. That was hard enough. That was 6, 7 years ago now, and it's still hard. But fast forward, I ended up with the 4Runner. I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted the 4Runner. I kind of talked to my stepmom some, and when I say stepmom, I have to clarify this because it's a big deal to me. Um, for clarification, we use that term "step" in my family for stepsister, stepbrother, stepmom, whatever. Um, that doesn't mean anything different. They're 100% family. Don't get treated any different than anyone else. I don't even like using the term, but it just helps to clarify things. So yeah, ignore that part. It's just family. I'm gonna ramble a little bit in this video. This is your warning. But yeah, I ended up with the 4Runner, and I had always wanted something, overlandy, something I could build into a legitimate overland vehicle. I started working. I kind of picked up where he took off, and just little things like he had started putting. He built like a frame for a drawer system in the back, so I finished that out. But yeah, and I slowly did some stuff. He had put Bilstein 5100s on it, and he put some FJ Cruiser springs on it because they were like an inch taller. So he did that. Once I got it, I lifted it a little more with some old new springs, added front bumper and a winch, snorkel, things like that, just to kind of keep building it, keep moving on from there. But, and it was a great vehicle, and I took it all over the place. New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona. I mean, I brought it from Arizona. Kansas, Colorado, Arkansas, Louisiana. I mean, Texas, anywhere around I could, but I took it as much as I could. Had it for 6 years or so. Put a bunch of miles on it. Burned through a bunch of sets of tires. Had a blast, and it was fun for me because it was my dad's truck, and I got to ride around in my dad's truck, go on adventures, and feel like I was on adventures with my dad. So that was great. So next, I'm gonna take a minute and we're gonna talk about some of the adventures that I got to go on in the forest, some of the better ones. I know I can bore you with everything. Hang on a second. So like I said, I got to take this thing all over the place. One of the coolest trips that I took in it, and I will never forget. I took amazing pictures and had a great time, and it was amazing for multiple reasons. One, this was like I said, I was transitioning out of the military. I had just lost my dad, made his 4Runner, and it just worked out. Or my wife and kid had to go to New York for a week for some dance stuff, and I had a week to myself. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? I need to do something. I have this great opportunity. I don't. Family's real important. I'm always trying to be home, be a good dad, be a good husband. But I'm like, if I have a week just to myself, I don't have to worry about anybody else, and I don't have to feel like I'm neglecting anyone, and I won't feel guilty. What can I do? And I planned a whole trip where I went all the way out. I drove out to Moab, checked out some cool stuff in New Mexico. Went up to Moab, did some of the cool trails there, fins and things, stuff like that. Then took the Rimrocker Trail back through from Moab to Montrose, Colorado, and then from there just kind of slowly bounced my way back home. Stayed at some amazing places, found some great campgrounds. And one, it was cool. This was my first real big adventure in the 4Runner, and I got to go on trails that I wasn't 100% confident that I could do. but I got to gain that confidence. Going all the way through fins and things, which I know is not a crazy trail, but if someone that's not from the off road world, that was cool. That was a big deal, and it was just such a cool environment, and there's cool people out there, and then doing the Rimrocker Trail and barely seeing another person for 2 days, and just being that feeling of remoteness helped a lot with my mental health. It gave me time to process lots of things. I was kind of forced to. I was out in the middle of nowhere, no one to talk to. Uh, didn't have cell signal most of the time, so a lot of my mental health issues, PTSD and military stuff, kind of worked through some of that. Worked through a lot of the stuff with losing my dad and thinking through all that. So I kind of, might be silly, but I kind of credit the 4Runner for giving me that opportunity. Yes, I could have done it a million other ways, but that presented that particular opportunity that worked out really well for me. Plus, like I said, cool trip on top of the whole thing. Some of the other cool trips, same vein with the mental health thing. I drove up through Kansas, over to Colorado, and went to the Motorcycle Relief Project. If you don't know about that, it's for veterans and first responders. They take veterans out on adventure bikes for a week. You stay like in a cabin, Airbnb type thing somewhere out in the woods, kind of secluded, and go out riding every day with this group of people that have the same experience as you. They're dealing with a lot of the same challenges you are. You go ride bikes all day, and you're riding their bikes. They're paying for the lodging. They're providing the food. All you really have to do is get there. There's kind of an application process, and they kind of like want to vet you to make sure that you're going to fit in with the group and that you have experience riding motorcycles, that kind of thing. Make sure that you're the right person for that program. But once you do, they pretty much provide everything. You just have to get there, whether it's flying there or driving. I chose to drive and just camped at some random state park in Kansas, but did the motorcycle relief program, which was amazing. And it's weird that at the end of the week, and they joke about this, the guys that run the program, that the motorcycles and the motorcycle riding end up being the least interesting part of the whole trip, which doesn't sound like how that would work out, but it is. It isn't. It isn't therapy. It isn't like group counseling. But every evening, you guys go ride bikes all day. You get filthy and sweaty and tired. Come back, have a good meal, and then they have kind of a structured, like, hey, let's talk about this kind of stuff. Like what are some of the challenges you're facing, or how have you figured things out? And you're, like I said, you're with a group of people who, for the most part, have gone through a lot of the same things you have. Whether it's, you know, it, there's no judgment. It's not, oh well, I had it worse than you, or it's nothing like that. It's a very, it sounds silly saying it's a very safe environment, very comfortable, very welcoming. Uh, so I don't know, for a group of people that are just veterans that like to ride motorcycles, they do an amazing job of helping everyone kind of get comfortable and talk through things. Um, and I did that several years ago, good number of years ago, and I still keep up with all those everyone in that group on Facebook and what they're going on with them, where they're at, and if I'm going through their area, I might stop and say hi or swing through if I'm on a trip or something. They're a great group of guys that I got close to, and we shared things. It's cool. And it also helped a lot with my mental health. But the cool thing that we tied us back to the 4Runner and overlanding, that's why y'all are here. They sit in the mental health channel. On the way home from that, I decided I took a couple extra days of leave from work, and I did Madonna Pass, which goes through the mountains in Colorado. At least the direction I did it. You start in the mountains, and at the end, you come out at Great Sand Dunes National Park, which I conceptually understood Great Sand Dunes National Park is going to have big sand dunes. I understood that in my head. It's a whole different thing where you're riding through the mountains, and then all of a sudden you come around a corner and there's giant, huge 100-foot piles of sand when you just had a mountain behind you. Crazy, trippy experience. Great trip. Something else I learned from that trip. Um, Part of the trail, real narrow. We're talking almost like just two track. Two cars almost couldn't pass each other. And it was a little steep, not real bad. And I was lazy and didn't air down my tires. I am bad about not airing down my tires because I get a little lazy. I'm like, I can deal. I don't mind it being bumpy. I don't mind the discomfort, whatever. So I didn't air down my tires and got a rock and got about a 2-inch gash in the sidewall of my tire. Well, crap. And I was in a spot on the trail that was tight and kind of downhill, and I couldn't change it right there. There's no way. So, or at least not safely. And I mention this because it was a challenge I had to overcome. I tried sticking like 4 or 5 tire plugs in that gash, and it would hold air for about 10 minutes. So that's what I ended up doing is I would put all those tire plugs in, air the tire up, drive as far as I could before it started kind of feeling flat again, pull over, put more air into it until I found somewhere I could pull off, kind of a little clearing campsite area. I could pull off and safely change the tire. And it was one of those things that it's not a huge deal. If you're on a trail, you're going to flat tire. It happens to everybody. But those little challenges like that start building your confidence. And you're like, oh, well, if I can deal with this, oh no, I'm waiting for work because there's a train. Okay, whatever. No, who cares? It's not a big deal. I've overcome much larger obstacles. This is nothing. It's nice to build your confidence by solving those problems and working through it. And then I got to that game through in my head, like, okay, well, what if I couldn't change this? What would I do? What would I do? How would I? How much food did I have left? Did I bring any extra food? Did I have any extra water? Did I have a way to communicate with anybody? No, I didn't. No cell phone signal. Hardly anybody out there. Uh, Luckily, I did have enough food that if I had to, give it a day or two to hope someone came by, I'd have been fine. But it was nice to know that I am prepared for this. I've got the knowledge and the skills and the equipment. It was great. And that was, I won't bore you with more just trip stories, but I learned a lot from the 4Runner. It, it helped me through some really hard times in my life. It sounds cliche to say about a car, but it probably helped make me a better person. And yes, I probably would have got there any other way with any other vehicle, but it's just this is how that particular vehicle that will always have a special heart in my life, a special place in my heart. It's just that's what happened. All right. So next we're gonna move on and talk about why I got rid of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hang on. Wait, I forgot. One more thing I wanted to talk about that I did learn or gain from the 4Runner. Just the community that the overland community the 4Runner helped introduce me to. Yeah, I make these videos and I don't have a ton of subscribers. This is not monetized. I don't have any sponsors, anything like that. This is something I literally do for fun. I mentioned other videos. It's kind of helped with my introvertedness too, helping me get more willing to share and talk and things like that. But the overland community is amazing. I never would have been introduced to it as much as I have if I didn't have something to take. It could have been anything. It could have been a Subaru, it could have been a Jeep. I mean, it could have been a Corolla that I decided to go out and have fun in. But I'm going to credit the 4Runner for introducing me to an amazing community, amazing people in it. I'll go into this in more detail in the next video when I introduce the new vehicle, which I'm not going to do yet. But if you follow me on social media, you've already seen it because I've been posting a lot because I'm excited. But within a couple days of having my new vehicle and posting it on Facebook, I had people from all around reaching out, going, "Hey, I just had one of those, and I've got these parts. Do you want them?" Or, "Hey, I had this on my truck, and I upgraded it. Uh, I upgraded to this other thing. Do you want this part?" And it's amazing. It just, I mean, that quickly, having these people have build that community, and they're looking out for you and trying to help. There's so many people that life's been busy, and I haven't been able to get out and camp as much as I want and go out on trips as much as I want. And there's so many people I miss hanging out with, and some of them may be watching this video. And if you are, uh, I'm just gonna throw a couple of random names out, and please don't feel bad if I don't mention your names. These are the ones coming to my head: John, Crystal. Uh, oh my God, I'm forgetting Crystal's husband's name, and I feel horrible. Jerome, Jared, Ben, all of y'all. And then all the other big, that's my like my local kind of crew, I guess. I don't know, it sounds silly to say it that way, but it's the people that usually go out and are kind of in all the little local events that I miss seeing. And hopefully we'll see more soon. And then there's some of the other bigger name people that it feels weird to like I'm name dropping, but there's people that I've met, and actually I won't even mention their names because I don't want it to be come off as like bragging. But there's some really big personalities in the overland community that I've got to meet, and some are amazing. Some are but there's some people that I meet one time at More Expo and we talk for 5 minutes. And a year later, I go to More Expo again, and that same person walks up. Oh my God, hey Rob, how are you doing? Blah blah blah. Oh, your hair grew out. I've been watching your rig on Facebook, and it's amazing the relationships that you build being part of the overland community. And that wouldn't have happened without that 4Runner, or it might have, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, really cool deal. Thank you, 4Runner. So if the 4Runner was so amazing and I had such a great time in it, why did I finally decide to get rid of it? And this was actually seriously, this is something I agonized over for at least 6 months, trying to decide what to do or what I was going to do, and was I going to get a new vehicle and sell the 4Runner? Was I going to buy something used but newer and maybe keep the 4Runner and try to keep building it out? Because it was my daily driver as well. And it got to the point. I mean, it was 20 years old, had 200,000 miles on it, and I mean, it's a Toyota. It was doing fine. It never had any major problems, but it was getting to the point that little things would pop up. Little things would pop up here and there. I mean, I'd have to change timing belt, or alternator would go out. Just little things that, if it was just my daily driver, would have been a problem, and I could have kept fixing it, moving it, and keep going. But it got hard when I'm trying to plan big trips, 3, 4, 5 day trips where I'm going to be out of cell phone signal, you know, out where it's hard to get help, where no one. It's just those situations where I'm like, oh, okay, well, if the alternator goes out and I'm driving down the highway, I've probably got enough battery that I can make it to a parts store, grab an alternator, throw it on. If I'm out in the middle of nowhere and that happens, screwed. But it's like, okay, well, do I carry an alternator? Do I carry a belt? Do I carry CV joints? Do I carry? I mean, you start the amount of stuff that you start having to worry about and carry. And oh, on top of this, some of y'all may know, I usually go out by myself. So it's not like I can be like, oh, this broke. Here, can you run to town and grab this? Or here, can you tow me back to the main road so I can call AAA or something? I'm out by myself. So if one of these things that would be a minor inconvenience on my daily drive happened, could be a big deal if I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And it got to the point that I was worrying about it enough that I got uncomfortable taking it on big long trips because of that. It was still a great vehicle. Uh, Part of me wishes I would have just kept it and turned it into an actual, just an off road fun toy. Um, but I think I made the right decision. The other thing is, one of the other decisions that played into this is there's just been more and more moments in my life lately where I'm like, man, I really need a truck. I need to be able to haul this or carry this. Or we were landscaping our front yard, and I'd go to home, went to Lowe's, and I had to get 20 bags of gravel, and I'm putting them inside the 4Runner, and then I'm trying to get spare gravel out of the back of the 4Runner for a month. Just I missed having a truck bed, which that's kind of a hint on what I replaced it with. But we'll do a whole other video for that. So that was kind of the thought. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get a truck. And I've never in my life had a new vehicle that was mine. Never. We've bought my wife a couple of new cars. I always had used cars because the way I looked at it, if someone in the family needs a new car, it's the wife, because if she breaks down the side of the road, less of a chance of her being able to fix it. My wife's very capable. She's an amazing woman. I don't mean anything negative by that. But it's more in my wheelhouse to be like, oh, okay, this is broke, or if God forbid I've got to hitch a ride home from somewhere, I'd rather it be me than her. little old school protective thing, I guess. I don't mean it in a negative way at all, though. Like I said, my wife is an amazing, super capable woman. Just we complement each other because we have different strengths and weaknesses that we complement each other on. Probably a good way for couples to work. So yeah, so she's had a couple of new vehicles. I had never had something brand new that was mine. In fact, that 4Runner that was 20 years old was the newest vehicle I've ever owned. So I decided to go ahead and do it. And my wife had recently had a really good experience at a dealership. And we went up there and I researched back and forth looking at every vehicle in the range I was looking at, every manufacturer. I basically, okay, well, if I want this brand, I want this one, and if I want this brand, I want this one. I kind of figured it out. Went to this dealership my wife had a really good experience at, got a really good deal. Ended up having someone there take over the 4Runner. Not as much money as I wish I would have got for it. Nothing like what it was worth to me, but enough to make it worthwhile. So, yeah, I had to say goodbye to it. And I am going to miss that 4Runner. But the good things, I have great memories of it. Like I said, it's introduced me to an amazing community. It's taught me many lessons. I've great pictures from some of those adventures on the wall in my office, and I'll always be there. And this is going to get very sappy and emotional, so feel free to fast forward through this. Uh, Hopefully, I don't get a little misty eyed. Hopefully, nobody no ninja cutting onions or ninjas cutting onions out here or anything. For a while, I really wanted to hold on to that 4Runner, whether it was a smart idea or not, whether it was the right vehicle for me or not, because it was my dad's. I was like, well, this is like a part of dad I want to hold on to. And it was like, I just didn't want to get rid of dad's truck. And like I said, I felt like when I was on adventures, it was almost like he was there with me. I mean, I'm out running around in his truck. And I had to remind myself, one, my dad was a wheeler dealer, horse trading kind of guy. He was constantly buying, selling, swapping, whatever he could find. Me and him have the same curse that we really enjoy a project until it's done, and once the project's done, it's not fun anymore. So he was constantly buying and selling and trading. I had to remind myself, I'm like, I've had this for 6 years. There's no way he would still have it if he was alive. He would have gotten rid of it a long time ago. He would have moved on to something different, more interesting, more fun, better fit him at the time, whatever it is. He would have moved on. So why should I not move on? This is where it's going to get really sappy. I also had to remind myself, and this took a while for me to process, that feeling that like he was out on those adventures with me had nothing to do with the fact that I was driving his truck. It had to do with the fact that he was him and I me. It was the fact that he's dad. And I get that same feeling in the new vehicle. And I should. And I shouldn't. Sorry, guys. Don't make fun of me. I shouldn't have been worried about that in the first place. There was nothing magical about the 4Runner. Just a machine. It's a great machine. It's a cool machine. Loved that thing. But it was just a thing. And all those feelings didn't come from the machine. They came from the feelings that me and my dad had built over his whole life, my whole life. So yeah, I still have all that. So yeah, I was able to move to what I consider probably a more capable vehicle. Oh, don't make fun of me, folks. Oh shit. Hopefully none of y'all even watch this far. But I was able to move to what is a more capable vehicle. Will fit my life better currently at the time. I can still go out and do all my fun overland things with it. And I still have that same magical feeling of being out with my dad. So yeah, it has been such a long time since I did these videos, and I'm not even sure how I used to end this. So just bear with me. Life has been crazy. For those of you who don't know, or if any of y'all are still watching, I haven't been. One of the reasons I haven't been out making videos, going on trips, going out camping. My daughter's a senior this it caught up with me quick. I was like, holy shit, she was 4, and now she's about to go to college. What happened? So I've been spending a lot of time at home, not really at home, but I'm spending more time. Oh shit, where's one? It's Oklahoma. So I've been trying to spend more time doing family stuff, doing stuff with the wife, with the kid. We took a trip to Colorado this last summer, but instead of taking overland vehicle and camping the whole way, we took my wife's car. And yeah, we went down the $1 million highway. We stayed in Uray. We did a lot of the fun overlandy kind of things. We went to Great Cedars National Park. We hiked to Zapata Falls. All these cool things, and I was able to share that with my family by just taking out the part that they're not huge camping people. They're not super interested in the off-roading part, but they love to see cool things and they want to go explore and find stuff. So we just did it a little different. And I'm trying to soak up all that kind of family time as I can before my kid leaves for college. So yeah, so once that's over, which is really soon, she, we're gonna. I'm hoping to get out a lot more and hopefully make more videos and have some more stuff to share with y'all. But we'll see how that goes. I really wish I remember how I ended these. I don't. I know I used to say something cute, but for now, I appreciate y'all watching. If you've actually made it this far, I know everybody says this, it's corny, and I hate to do it, but I'm actually really curious. If you made it this far, leave a comment and just say done or finished or something. Let me know you made it here because I'm curious if anyone does actually watch all the way through. But thanks for being there. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Stormcrow Overland. It's on every. It's the same thing on everything. If you're really interested, I know some of y'all have seen some of my sewing stuff. You can check out stormcrowoverland.myshopify.com. There's also a link in my bio on Instagram and all that for it, where I do sell some little bags and stuff. I need to update the page to add some of the newer stuff I've been making. But yeah, just thanks for being there. Thanks for being part of this amazing community. Thanks for watching. Hope to see y'all out there.